Hello everybody, today we're going to take a look at the Valkyrie clone by Ehpro. This was purchased from Eciggity.com. It was $54 I believe shipped. You'll receive it in a nice little black box. It has if this will focus, which it probably won't. There we go. Yeah, the lighting's terrible, but it has the Valkyrie and the Ehpro model number there, and my serial number at the bottom, which is 68. In the box, you will get the Valkyrie mod. Really nice looking. It is a little different than the authentic version. As you can see, the ring there is not polished, and the ring down there is not polished, but that's fine. I had no issue with that at all. I kind of like that. That's one of the things I like about Ehpro. At least a lot of times they don't go 100% with the clones, so you can at least tell them apart a little bit. The build quality, the feel of it, really nice. All the threads nice and smooth, no issues at all. Lock ring is reverse threaded, and this has to be one of my favorite locking rings. It's just like if you're familiar with the lock ring on the Stingray, how it's just one turn to lock it, that's how this is. One turn unlock, one turn locked. I'm actually going to start this video from here. I'm going to continue on right after I show you the cap about the negatives first, because if you can't deal with the negative, then the rest is meaningless and you really should not buy this mod. Let me go to the top cap real quick though. In the top cap, you have 3 slots for venting, so you can run single coil and dual coil. It stays on nice and secure. Just a normal 3-post setup, and this is super easy to work with. One of the easiest drippers that I've worked with. I mean, everything's right there, it's raised up, and what I really like about it is the cap will sit down here, and the air holes, hopefully you can see that, they're actually a little below the coil, so the air kind of comes under it a little bit. And I always find setups where the airflow comes from under the coil provides much better flavor, and the flavor on this is really good. Chamber is really small, and again, it's coming all the way down here. And actually, you know what, before I get to the switch, I'm going to show you one other issue. Hopefully you can see how close those come up. They're nearly touching that cap. You really have to watch what drip tips you use in this. If the this section right here of your drip tip is long, or it doesn't have like a ridge there stopping it, this can go all the way down and touch that positive and short this thing out. I have found that out the hard way, and hopefully you might not be able to see it, but there's a little black mark right on my positive screw right there. My drip tip hit it, shorted everything out, battery got super hot. Luckily it didn't vent or anything. Oh, and you do have one tiny little venting hole there that I'm positive is not going to allow any airflow once the battery is in there. The batteries go in fairly tight, and just like every other bottom venting mod, when a battery vents, it swells up and it clogs up the whole tube, and they're designed to vent from the top. If I've had one of my gray panties vent, and it actually blows a ring off the top and it vents out the top. It's got stuck on my Nemesis doing that, and I don't know, I don't want to make it about that though. It's all just because people ask for it to make you feel better. Most of the time they don't even really function, and blowing in tubes doesn't help with a normal battery, and blowing in tubes doesn't really show it. Alright, let me go to the switch real quick, because here's the issue. And this is supposed to be one of the ones where they actually fixed the problem with the switch. Now, when I first received this, sometimes when I'd hit the button, sometimes it would fire, sometimes it wouldn't. And if I'd hit on one side, it would be like a dead battery, the other side would be full blast. And it is a very stiff switch. It's not much of a throw at all. But it was just so inconsistent. It worked more times than it didn't work. Or, I mean, it didn't work more times than it did work. It was just super aggravating. And trying to set this pin up for a battery can be a little difficult. It is reverse threaded, so you'd have to turn it to the right. But most batteries, I mean, seems to work best with an AW18650. But like my Sony's, I have to have it nearly hanging out, just maybe one half a turn in, to be able to screw this in and have the battery secure. Inside, there's your connector. It's just a stainless steel pin holding this. Oh, alright. I'm all over the place in this video. There is one more thing that is in this box. If you lift this up, I did notice a few people didn't keep forgetting about that, but you get this really, really nice pouch. This Ehpro doesn't hold back on their pouches. This thing's nice. So underneath that, so always remember to look under those. Even a lot of things. There's some odds I didn't think would have instructions under there. But anyway, here's a switch. Now I couldn't find anything online to get this thing apart, but I did finally get it apart. And you are going to need to do this if you want your switch to work 100% all the time. And since I've actually cleaned it out so I can show you what I did. Remove that. Now this part's pretty easy to remove. As you can see, there's two little divots there, and I hate using this screwdriver for it, but it's what I got near me. And you just get in there and just unscrew it. And that's why I hate using this screwdriver, because it doesn't really get in there deep, but it'll come out. And you have this section here. And that part right there is what the firing pin is actually making contact with. So you do want to keep that really nice and clean. And that'll also push right out of this Delrin. And there's your piece right there. Alright, so we got that. Now in here, there's another Delrin. It does not have the divots. Those little things you see in there are just probably little bits of dirt or something. All the threads really nice. So you got that, and this firing pin down here is nothing more than a piece of steel little coming off this button here. Now to get this out, you want to just take something small, and this will just pop right out. And you have a little C-clamp there. And with this in, there's two sections. There's an indented part with the little cutout there, and then the flat part. The part with the cutout goes on the bottom. And when you push the firing button, that pin just, I'm trying to show you, it just pokes up like that much. It barely makes it over this. You can shave some of this down to get it higher, but then you're going to have an issue with not having the proper height to make battery adjustments. So you might wind up having to use a little magnet on top of your battery or something to do that. So if you can avoid shaving this down at all, hold off on that. What I have done, what I normally do is, let me show you how to get this apart real quick. Hopefully I can get that back in focus, and you just pop that right out. And then you have your button. Now there was two issues I was having with my button. I explained the one thing, and one of the in the beginning how it was acting. One of the reasons was this spring was getting caught up and bunched up, and it wasn't allowing the button to go all the way in, like you can see there. It was just bunching up and getting stuck like that. Hopefully you can see that. And it wasn't allowing it to go high enough. See now, sometimes I had to rebend it a little bit to get it to allow it to push all the way in like that. And that helped a little bit. But there was still one other issue, and that here's top of the firing pin, and it's a fairly easy fix. I'm not going to put it on right now. I will put this stuff on after I get this back together, but just use some Nolox, and after you get it back in, just put a little bit of Nolox either on top of this pin, or just rub some Nolox on the bottom of this. And this is actually would probably be a whole lot easier, just taking that out, putting Nolox on the bottom of this, and putting it back together. Since I put Nolox on there, no matter where I push the button, it fires full power. And a mod that was really pissing me off when I first got it has become definitely, I mean, I have used this non-stop. I am in love with this thing. The vape quality is great. The performance, my coils are a little lower ohm than I want. It's like 0.4, and I kind of wanted to be around 0.8, but man, the performance is incredible. This part can be a little tricky, trying to get this back in. Just kind of want to just drop it in there. And if you're just going to put Nolox on the bottom of this, you do not have to take this out. I just wanted to show you guys how to take it out in case you have the spring issue I had. And you'll just either have to reposition that spring a little bit, like flip it upside down. That's what I ended up doing with mine, and it seemed to solve that issue. I might go off camera here for a second so I can see what's going on, because this little C-clamp can be annoying. There you go. You get that clamp back on. It's not all the way down yet, but uh-oh. Yeah, you guys are going to see me fiddle with this for a few minutes. There we go. So you get that all situated. The button goes all the way in. So that's no longer going to be an issue. Let me put that somewhere where it's not going to roll away. And again, here's that. You want to put the indented part in here first. Indented part goes down. This one doesn't screw in, so you're just going to kind of make sure it clicks in there really well. Which it has, and I know you're not going to be able to see that, but it barely makes it over that Delrin. Alright, so hopefully I got that situated. And now take this, and you want the part with the two little divots up facing the top now that everything is completely out of focus. There we go. And you want the part with the two little holes facing up. This will go in from the bottom. And what I have done is what I do, and it has worked perfectly with full power every time I push the button, no matter where I push the button, is just put a little bit of Nolox on there. Nothing major, doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. That's actually way more than I wanted, but it's not going to hurt anything. Hey, just a little bit there. I'm actually just going to leave it gunked up like that. And drop that down in there. And be careful with this. You don't want to cross thread Delrin. It'll lead to issues later on. You basically just tighten it back up. And the reason why I'm pointing this out, I've seen people, I keep seeing these posted on Facebook and stuff, people selling these, and they literally just got them, and they're not telling anybody that theirs has an issue, and I know it does. I see people doing it all the time, and stuff like that makes me mad. I try to send messages to people and let them know to ask about the button. And as you can see, the throw is really light. Hopefully I didn't put too much Nolox there and it's staying connected. There we go. So the throw is really light. And with this, again, this is reverse threaded, so you want to turn to the left to get it in. There's that. put my Sony 30 amp in there. This is, and I have it almost to the point where it's hanging out right now. And I still have rattle. One little nitpick about this is none of the logos line up. I mean, you can kind of line up the top logo. Actually, that's a lie. Alright. This bottom logo, if you don't tighten it all the way, it can line up, and it's not going to leave a gap. Like right there. If you have your battery secure, you can get it right there, right under. But you will never, at least on mine, the Valkyrie will never be right above that engraving right there. And as you can see, it's trial and error getting this set up for the battery. But good thing about it is once you get it set up, you're really not going to have to mess with it much. And still rattle. Alright, we're doing it this time for the win. Alright, there we go. Hopefully I can catch a thread. And still got a lot of rattle. And the bad thing about this is you can't settle for having any rattle at all because the pin doesn't move. You have to have it secure or it will not fire. So left tightens, right loosens. There we go. I mean, I could still go in and see it's pretty close, and it could still get screwed in a little bit more. And that's my coils there. Again, I have two. It's way lower than I want. This worked out to be about 0.4 ohm, 0.5 ohm. But it's hard to get an accurate reading on a hybrid because I have to go from the positive pole to the base, or go from the positive to this side. And it's somewhere between 0.4 and 0.6, I'd say at the least. And to have it set up, let me get this open up. And that's set up dual coil. And see, with that in the front, you're gonna have, it winds up being right on the side of it, so it's kind of not really gonna get much going on there. And you'll be closer if you set your coil up on the left as opposed to the right like mine. But to get it set up like that, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's a clone. If I wanted something dead on perfect and for looks, I would have got the real deal. And for $54, I really believe this is worth it. And excuse the drip tip. I actually have no drip tip that looks good on this. So that's the only one that I could find. So yeah, once you get the switch issue sorted out, like I said, every time you push the button, no issues at all. It just fires, and it fires really well. This thing puts out power, and I'm kind of surprised considering it's just brass contact and a stainless steel pin up there. Works really, really well. And geez, I'm never prepared. Alright, let's see. I don't have any scissors near me. Hopefully, I'm just gonna put some cotton in here, show you how I've been cramming it in there, because that deck is really, really small in there. Not a lot of place to stuff cotton, so this is not something you're going to be able to drip freaking the 30-40 drops of juice in and vape away for a little bit, especially when you're set up like with the setup I got in there. I might get, I don't know, 15-20 drops of juice in there at the most. and I'll get 4 or 5 vapes out of it for the simple fact that this thing puts out. If any of you have the Trident clones or anything like that and know the amount of vapor those things put out, that's nothing. This thing puts out massive clouds of vapor. It's incredible. It's way more than I really wanted. I'm not one of those cloud chasers. I'd rather taste my juice and stuff. Nothing against it. Nothing at all. I just have kids in the house most of the time, and I can't be fogging everything out. Alright, so I've just been getting that through. And it's nothing special. And of course you're going to see me fiddle around with this too, because I don't have scissors. And anything that focuses, because the lighting is terrible. Alright, so we got one side. Oh, that is awesome. You see that? How I pulled it right out like that. It's live on cam, people. Good thing I have no intentions of quitting my day job. Anyway, I think you guys get the point though. You just... God, this sucks. Hate doing this crap on camera. Especially after I did all that. And I'm already... Ugh. Oh, look at that. Got lucky. Alright. So yeah, we'll get that in there really well. Just a crying shame I don't have anything near me to cut this, and I'm not going to get up. Alright. Now we're working with fire here. So we'll get that side. And it's set up like every other dripper, and trust me, I'm making this look way more complicated than it really is. If you have an actual pair of scissors near you, it's a breeze. If you just want to set up regular coils, it's a breeze. It's like any other dripper, and the holes are actually a good size. I have had no issues getting, what is this, 28 gauge? I've had no issues fitting those, the two pieces of those in one little hole. And as you can see, I don't have much overhang there. So we'll do that, and you guys can watch me fiddle around with the other side too if you want to stick around for this. But the main issue with this is the switch. If they would have just made the firing pin a tad bit longer, none of that fiddling with the switch would have been an issue at all. This wouldn't have been a project. This would have been a mod you could have just bought and thoroughly enjoyed from the second you got it. But instead, they bunked up on that, and I'm kind of surprised that Ehpro let that go. Their addies do have issues every now and then, but for the most part, their mods always seem to be, their clones always seem to be really good quality, and this is really good quality. And I like the materials that Ehpro uses as well. They seem to use a higher grade material than any other clone maker, and that's including H-Cigar and all that stuff. And maybe Rainbow Heaven will match them. There we go. Sorry I had to get off camera a little bit. It's a little shaggy looking, but that's what you want to go for right there. You don't want too much. And I personally, if you want, you can put some under there, but you don't want to have any cotton too close to the cap, because again, that air hole is a little bit under the coil, so you risk blocking the air hole off. So we'll go for that. I had juice near me, and now I don't know where the bottle is. I see it. 1 second. But yeah, I'm on my way. Alright, here we go. So we got some juice. We're in focus, and this juice is absolutely horrible, but it's the only bottle I have out here. I was just letting this sit with the cap off for days, hoping something would come of it, but it's not. So I'm just gonna waste this cotton on here, just to show you how I've been setting it up. And I've just been tucking that side like that. Tucking that side down like that, and as you can see, I'm still leaving everything clear under that coil there, and doing the same over here. Get that under. And the O-rings on the cap hold on really well. It's... Nope, camera's about to fall. So you want to make sure you got my holes. I already got them all wide open. And if I can get it to focus, I'll just line up the holes like that. And yeah, the O-rings hold on really well. It's really easy to adjust the airflow. And there's also, it doesn't hold on so tight that you have to sit there and yank on it to get anything off. But it's also not going to fall off. And yeah, let me put some more juice down up in here. A lot of times I did find now, once I have a drip tip in, that if I just pull, it's not doing it now. Most of the time, once the O-ring around here starts getting wet, I could just pull on the drip tip and this whole section will come right off. And that's us firing away. I mean, this one's a hard one to say whether or not I recommend. If you do have some no-locks, I mean, it's a super easy deal. You just buy some no-locks, put it on the bottom. You won't have to worry about the switch until you want to clean it. And then you just get some more no-locks, put it there, and you won't have an issue with the switch at all. If you can get past that, this is an incredible mod. It's built really well. The flavor is fantastic. Not the best I've had from a dripper, but definitely better than the Trident clones, and better than most drippers. It really is. There's not many, at least clone drippers that I've had that are in the same ballpark as this. The Fatty V3 clone definitely beats it in flavor, but nowhere near it in vapor production. And clearly there is no way I have tried to get my airflow set up. So set up for dual coil, I got my airflows wide open. I'm just gonna have a vape real quick. And oh, that juice is so bad. Oh, I hate that juice. Oh, sorry, I had to disappear. Oh, that was brutal. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry, that juice is just terrible. Never, ever. Alright, this is a warning. This millennium potion that they give you free with ordering something from the Vapor DNA, never, ever vape it. Alright, this is the caramel. Alright, I got to let you go before I throw up on camera. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that helped you solve any of the issues with your switch. Don't buy this. But if you could deal with the switch, definitely buy that. Fantastic vape if you actually put some vapable juice in it. Alright, thanks for watching.